It was 70 when I looked at it earlier.
Oh, hello.
You didn't get the thing off the
What you need? All right, fam. I'm gonna use my dad's phone to watch your questions. Hopefully it doesn't make me echo too much. So, happy Wednesday, guys. As I always started out, as requested, we are at my parents' lovely home in the backyard. So, if you hear whatever this is, there's probably going to be ships going by, helicopters overhead, lots of bugs.
Jets way up.
Jets way up. Maybe some French bulldog snorts.
Yeah.
Because there's two of them running around. So, anywho, just get used to it. Oh yeah, look, there she is. So we had a really good conversation last Wednesday, and I told my parents, I was like, how cool would it be to actually, talk to you guys and kind of walk through this. So I hope you guys find this interesting. Your questions that you left, I can't say were very pertinent, so I'll answer those at another time, and we'll just get going. So, you guys have been macro counting for how long now? When did you start?
It'll be 2 years in September.
2 years in September. So, just kind of talk a little bit louder, but tell them, why did you start?
Well, you came home with Chuck for your birthday, and you had started doing the macros then. And just off to the side, you were recording everything and scanning and weighing, and you looked like you were doing awesome with it. And we were asking you questions, and your mom and I didn't even have a conversation back and forth. And then you guys take off and head back to St. Louis, and I told your mom, I said, I think I want to do it. And she said, well, I've been thinking the same thing. So together, separately, she was thinking, yeah, I want to do this, and I'm thinking, yeah, I want to do it. So it just made sense because you were eating regular food. It wasn't anything heated up in the microwave. You didn't open up a bag, dump it out on the plate, eat it. But you were making it work how you could for your setup of your macro numbers. So over the 35 years we've been married, 36 years of marriage, we've done South Beach diet. Mom did Nutrisystem. We did the Atkins diet. The Atkins diet was first, and that's getting your body into ketosis,
Oh my gosh.
not eating any carbs, and it was just it was hard on us that when we decided to kind of slide off of it a little, we wanted to do nothing but eat a loaf of bread. I mean, it was like, we were so famished
and
from
we
it.
did. Eat a loaf of bread.
Was that your cheat, or like once a week, or did you actually stop and you guys were like, bread?
Well, we take an annual trip to the mountains, South Georgia, and we used to go in April and October. Now we only go in October. We're going to look for June this year because we hope Chelsea and Chuck will go with us also at that time, and Chuck is stuck on fishing.
Yeah.
There's a lake out here, there's a river out there, but we have to go up there, whatever. And there is an Amish bakery, and we did stop in there several times. We got loaves of bread and caramel pecan rolls. Oh my gosh, and we ate them all. We ate one loaf of bread at one time, the very first time that we had that. So that's what we would do.
So you'd gone into this is Atkins, right? Atkins, which is basically...
That was Atkins,
which was
no
basically
sweets.
keto, no sweets, no bread, no carbs.
Yes.
They even then talked about under 20 grams of carbs a day, right?
Yep.
Right.
You said that number without me telling you about keto.
Right.
But then when you guys went on vacation, you felt like you had to party because you had been so strict. So,
Right. And I lost weight. We lost weight with it.
He lost more, of course.
And it works, but it was too taxing on your body.
Well, and when you go back to eating regularly, you go back to eating the way you did before.
Mm-hmm.
It's too hard to stay on. You can't eat that way. You just can't eat that way always. This is perfect. I thought when we were talking about changing the way we're eating. I don't say do this diet. We just changed what we eat, and didn't realize how much fat and how many carbs were actually in the stuff that we were eating. He was traveling at the time, and once I retired, I would go with him. And we would stop at McDonald's and get their ice cream cone, which is pretty low in calories.
It's actually really not bad.
I-
You look
well,
it up, which is funny. Anyways,
And so we would stop, and we would had the places pegged along the way what made the biggest cones. We wouldn't get the ones that were skimpy. Of course we went to the ones with extra. And it was just, I don't know, it was that kind of stuff that we ate that we thought we were doing well.
that's the funny part is that, you know, it's definitely always been like, I've always been a rabbit. You guys always tell that story about any vegetable you handed me as a baby. You were amazed that I would eat. We've always loved fish. We've always loved chicken. Like, we necessarily haven't been bad in the sense of like what we ate, but what was the difference about what you're doing now versus what we thought we were doing right?
Well, it's just the understand. I think almost more so than the carbs. I mean, we understood the carbs, but the fat side.
Yeah.
Okay, we went and ate chicken. Let's go eat some wings.
Yeah.
You know, and one wing is almost 10 grams of fat.
Yeah. We
It's
looked
like
that up last week.
Crazy.
What we say, there
amount
was
of
10
fat.
grams of fat per wing, and we
Right.
would eat 15 each.
Exactly.
So there was
Right.
150 grams of fat in
Right.
and we even said it, sometimes it was an appetizer.
Yep.
Well, and that was on one day, and then the next day we would go get pulled pork barbecue, you know, and it's just loaded down with grease, and you know, it was
Or
just
we
a
do
decision.
cheese and nacho chips.
Right, nacho cheese, you know, something like that.
And we have found out now, instead of eating half a big bag of nacho chips with cheese, we can fill in other stuff. If I wouldn't even think about putting it on there anymore after all this time. I almost feel guilty. I shouldn't feel guilty when I eat that stuff, but I don't need 50 or 100 chips. I can do with 10 and a
Right.
little bit of salsa as opposed to that cheese. If I want cheese, okay, have it on one.
So how did you go from that? So, you know, when I eat chips, I love chips, right? Like you want to go to Pound Town on it, but what's the difference now that makes you stop at 10 and be happy with it versus half a bag?
I just don't. Again, I feel like I'm going to stand on the scale the next day and weigh 5 pounds more, and I don't want to do that. My goal is a pound a week. Not a big deal. We've been on it for a long time, but I have lost a pound a week. Sometimes 2 pounds come off one week and nothing the next, but I'm okay with that.
When you
because
average it out.
for all this time, yes, a pound a week, and I have lost, I can't believe I'm going to say this, almost 100 pounds. What the heck did I carry around before?
Even Brindle got excited about that. Yeah, Boo Bear.
And Dad is such a great guy. What did he do? He kept he calls me cutie, you know. I don't know, we get along well. Now that we're both retired, we're together all the time, and that's okay. But we didn't, how did I carry around that much weight, be that chunky, and I don't know. And now it's different. When I was on Nutrisystem, oh my God, that is good when you're trying to lose a little bit fairly quickly. You know that the first several pounds that you take off is just water weight, because they really have reduced the sodium in a lot of their things. But it's measured, and this may be measured to some people. When I talk to them about the way we're eating now, they say, oh, it's portion control. Well, I guess so. I even said that to Chelsea a couple weeks ago. And she said, well, yeah, it is.
Nutrisystem is portion control.
This
or this
too.
is portion control.
This
yeah,
too.
it is. It is.
half a cup noodles. That's portion control. I don't look at it that
I
way
can have
anymore.
those chips, but I portion 10 of them, not half a bag.
Right.
Exactly.
Or maybe if I want half a bag, that's fine.
do
but I-
something else. Yeah,
else.
exactly.
Well, and that's something that we've been huge on, is going in and taking a recipe and breaking it down and deciphering what's in it and making it work for us and still taste good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dissecting what we've done and changing it around. That's how some of these recipes have come into fruition, is that we've had some experiments that didn't come out very well, and we've kind of let them go. But the ones
We
that
made
we
y'all
stuck
cookies.
You did.
with, you know,
That was
They've
too
been
good.
making ice cream.
Yeah, ice
So
cream.
if you want a ice cream recipe.
Evaporated milk, we can do it. It's
Right.
good.
you know, so it's, Atkins was too hard on us. South Beach worked, but and again, talking about portion control, now that I know how many grams of or ounces of a particular protein or something that I can have, that makes all the difference in the world.
Hear the
And-
helicopter?
Yeah.
That's freedom, people.
Yeah.
And
That's from the Navy.
you know, Mom and I sit there at night and we talk about what we're having tomorrow so that we can back into lunch and breakfast and stuff like that. So kind of key off dinner and then back down into the other meals of the day.
Yeah, so when you plan ahead, basically you say like, ooh, I would really like to have, you guys do chicken spaghetti a lot. So I really want
We do.
chicken spaghetti tomorrow. So then you plan how to change the rest of your day so that you can have what you want.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, you know, a lot of we were talking about this before we went on, a lot of the comments is that this is hard to do. So if you're saying, hey, I want to go out for pizza tomorrow night, like we all do, hey, oh, I really want pizza, let's go do it. So I don't know if my question's coming out the right way. Why is this easier than people say that it is? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, I think it's because you're keying it in and it registers and gives you the number. Again, with Atkins, you didn't know.
You guessed.
You could eat a half a pound or 2 pounds of ground beef or something, but you didn't know that you were just blowing out the side of the fat, which Dr. Atkins didn't really care about that, because he thought that without the carbs, you know, your body would expel it, so it was okay. And
Which
that's
is true if you get into ketosis. Totally different thing.
right.
That was very
Not
hard
exactly.
for
And
us.
again,
We
it's hard. It's not. I don't think it's healthy for the body. I really don't. And that's why South Beach kind of came into it and kind of gradually introduced carbs back in it. You may start off into ketosis and you gradually back into it. But again, there's no meter. I mean, am I eating 9 ounces of chicken breast, or am I eating 13 or 14 ounces of chicken breast?
So what you're saying is this time you actually know what you're supposed to be doing. Before, you were just guessing.
Right.
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 Yeah.
And
You
you
had to
don't
guess.
know.
You were guessing. You didn't know.
Um,
We do know now. And if it doesn't say on the package, we go into USDA and look at it. Lots of meats are that way. In this, you know that they have actually checked it. We usually go by the things with the little green check on them. Or we go into USDA, or we actually do the package. Not all packages have everything on them. We, I was telling her the other day that we tried to figure out the difference, how to calculate grams and milliliters.
Milliliters.
Oh my gosh, don't try and do that.
Yeah.
Just, it's not the same. You think it's the same. It weighs, looks like it weighs the same, but it doesn't. So do your best to find something with grams on it. That's it. It's not hard. You just have to have the mindset of doing it ahead of time. Don't go into dinner looking at your numbers saying, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything because I've stuffed it in all day.
Right.
What we started doing at the very beginning was plan a day ahead. This is what we're going to have, and that's what we had. So we knew. Now we can plan dinner, which is usually the way we go, and then go from there. What are we having for lunch to fill in? What are we having? What are we cutting out of breakfast, which is usually where we cut a little bit or change a little bit because we like eggs and bacon every day, every single day, every day.
Eggs and bacon.
So eggs and bacon.
Whole eggs,
Real bacon. Egg whites also. Add egg whites.
Why are you adding egg whites?
Yep.
Why?
Why?
Why you add egg whites?
Protein.
It's your protein. Hot darn.
Extra protein. Even
Look at that.
I had this little surgery on my head, Kara. The doctor said, eat more protein. I said, well, I'm on a macro diet. I eat a lot of protein. I eat this much a day. And sometimes I cheat on the protein for other stuff, but, that's neither here or there. And he went, oh, my gosh, really? Yes. So
Well,
he said that helps heal. So Dad added a couple extra egg whites in the morning.
right. The two big protein helpers for us has been tuna and egg white. Because you're not adding the fat on this side. So you're able to add that in. A little bit of tuna for lunch, egg whites in the morning for breakfast. You're getting yourself off on a good start.
And you guys have changed
But-
what you purchase too. So your deli meat,
Exactly.
you found your Prima Della ham, and it's low fat, and so
Right.
it was taking it from, let's say, I don't even know what honey baked are. I'm just using general, so sorry, honey baked if you're lean, but taking something fattier and just shopping smarter. So you still get ham, but now you have that.
And it's
Right.
good.
Right.
That's good.
And we
Yeah.
can have ham. Excuse me. He has more carbs during the day because he's a guy. And anyway, so it takes us from having a ham sandwich or a honey baked sandwich, which we did. Oh, go get the honey baked on rye and whatever. To eating the ham, and this kind of may sound cheap, like you're on a diet, but it's not true because I really like it. Little, what's the brand of the Mount Olive?
Oh, the
Pickles.
pickles.
Pickle
the,
chips and ham. That's kind of my
bread and
go-to
butter
at lunch.
with
It's
Splenda.
so yummy.
Right.
So it has Splenda. It's made with Splenda. There's not much. Actually, it says 0. Splenda does have stuff. Swerve does not, by the way.
Brought to you by Swerve.
So I have Swerve in there. Their brown sugar is not as good as the Splenda brown sugar. That's the other thing. Can I go into that?
Sure, go for it.
Sweet potatoes. Chuck actually said, I asked him what he wanted for the carb the other night when they came over for dinner, and he said, oh, make those brown sugar sweet potatoes. Would anybody before have said, oh, open another package of Nutrisystem?
Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Sounds like we need to talk a little louder, family.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I can't see me.
You're behind the bubbles.
Oh,
You're on there. You're behind the talk bubbles.
okay.
So it's amazing that people that aren't eating this way, he is, but he has, kind of has to because he's eating with the rest of us. But how much shrimp does he have? Dad buys 3.5, 4 pounds of shrimp, and that is our dinner. It's not like we skim. It's just a lot of food that we've changed our way of eating. Like Chelsea said, we ate seafood all the time. What did we eat? We ate fried shrimp. Now when we go out, we have a favorite seafood place here. He gets fried shrimp. I get blackened snapper or blackened grouper, one or the other, which is better.
But what did you do?
Oh.
So not only do you make a better choice there, but how do you set up your breakfast? Do you change something out to go
I'm
to
sorry,
seafood
that's
kitchen?
where I went to
Well,
begin
there's
with.
times when I cut out the bacon in the morning.
Right.
I'll do the ham. I'll make a ham omelet instead
Instead
of bacon and eggs. I'll do ham omelet, or even I've been doing cheese, but I've cut that out lately.
Yeah, and honestly, when you give up bacon one day to have Seafood Kitchen that night, don't you just look forward to Seafood Kitchen that much more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a treat. And the whole thing is, you don't want to beat yourself up because you didn't plan ahead and you're eating something you probably shouldn't. But on the same hand, if it does, wipe it out. Let's go. Come on. Tomorrow's another day. Let's get back online. Let's get it going again.
Yeah.
You don't get upset. There's going to be days when you get on the scale and you're up 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds. You know that you're in control because the numbers will allow you to lose if you slip a little bit or something wasn't quite calculated right, don't worry about it. Let's move on. Come on, let's go. You know, and
We also have a snack every night.
right,
Every night.
right.
And we can adjust that too if we need to. If we go out to eat and we slip when we're there, somebody brings us an extra piece of coconut cream pie like they do. Then okay.
So you've built in a buffer though, and then you can sit at dinner and say,
That's
"Oh
true.
man, I'm gonna have that coconut cream pie, and I'm just gonna ditch my snack later because this is
Yep.
worth it."
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just find a balance.
Except for my glass of wine. Have to have the wine. That's why I leave a little bit of carbs and a little bit of fats usually, because that wine is not exactly what the label says either.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, there's an adjustment that
So,
we can have.
so you guys have been on this for 2 years. You've obviously done really well with it. Do you see yourself stopping?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. There's no way, because, you know, years ago when I was working nights, I would get up and you guys weren't even out of bed yet. I'd go grab breakfast somewhere. So I'm sitting in the parking lot. It's 5 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm seeing people that are getting out, they're retired, and they're struggling to get into the restaurant. And I thought to myself, do I want to be like that in retirement? What did they do? What do they do? What did they not know that they would have done 15 years before, 20 years before? So why would I just totally ditch what I've done to get where I am, just turn around and get back where I don't want to be?
And the difference is now versus other ones, you actually understand what you're doing. So if you just throw away tracking and go back, you know that you're just not doing it anymore, right?
Right.
You're completely disregarding what you've learned. Where
Yeah.
before, if you stopped Atkins, it's because you didn't really even know you were off it. You know, you didn't know.
Well, the Atkins was so treacherous to you that you just craved it.
Right.
You know, and we don't have those cravings anymore. I mean, we've learned what we can do to get where we want, so we're able to kind of stay inside the guidelines. It's like, you know, you've got the solid line on the left and the dotted line on the right. Well, we know that we can stay inside the path and we're okay. You know, we're not running off into the ditch,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, one of
And
my
if-
dudes talks about hitting the rumble strip. She feels like she's getting off a little bit, and she's like, I just need to tighten it up a little bit and get
Right,
back on.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
If I go up just a little bit, no problem. I just watch what I'm doing.
See
You
if
know,
you're snatching.
watch what I'm doing.
And
so that,
he's kind of where he wants to be. I
Right.
actually told him at one point he's getting too thin. So he added a
Like
few
the men
carbs
needy.
back on.
what's that?
A little
Like
bit.
for men needy.
Well, I don't like him looking skinny. I mean, he is really down. How many pounds did you lose?
84.
84.
But you know, the
See?
health side of that is that I'm off both blood pressure medicines.
Yeah.
There's 2 blood pressure medicines that I've ditched.
And you were on them for how long?
Well,
2 years.
one
They've got
of them, it's been probably 20 plus years, and the other ones have been 10 or 15.
And don't your cardiologist has asked you how you lost all that
Oh,
weight?
absolutely.
That's the amazing
Everybody
part.
has.
And then his eyes rolled back in his head when I started explaining it to him.
Because they don't understand either. Yes, he's a cardiologist. Yes, he's had a lot of medical training. But he doesn't have this kind of training. They tell him nutrition is important. Cut back on this, this, and this. They look at your numbers. If they take your blood test, and that's what they go by. They
And
don't
most
know.
of the time they're not wrong, because if we can cut out a little bit of something, overall in a caloric setting, we're eating less calories. But still, how you find not giving up anything and being healthy is by finding balance within them, right? It's not
Yeah.
just like cut
Yeah.
carbs, because then you might blow something else out.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, I knew I needed to cut out carbs, so I was eating nuts. When I was working at UPS, and I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, eat breakfast at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then we don't eat lunch until 1 or 2. I'm dying by that time. So I'd grab, you know, pecans and cashews and almonds and all that stuff, and I'm eating handfuls of it, you know. And the pecans are just off the chart with fat.
Yeah,
It's
we've talked about
crazy.
how
Didn't
crazy it
know.
can be.
We didn't know.
You didn't, they were supposed to be healthy. They're
Yes,
not.
that's correct.
Right.
That's what people say.
And they
That's
try to
like
s-
organic.
Well, they say
Everything's
healthy
organic. Oh, yeah.
fat.
Right?
Okay.
And
Healthy
it is.
fat.
Yeah, it is
It
better
is.
fat, but everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. Everything in moderation. Well, what is
What
moderation?
is moderation?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Nice.
we are quite happy, actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would stop entirely.
I don't
we
think
may-
you can when you do it this long and it becomes so natural. Do you guys even really think about it, or do you just pull out a scale and start?
We just pull out a scale.
Yeah.
Well, for us, and I've said this, with the people that go to work, what's 5 more knife cuts to cut up more vegetables to put in so that they've got lunch tomorrow? Maybe unloading on Sunday and making lunches throughout the week is not necessarily it, because they get home in the evening and make dinner, add a few more knife cuts to vegetables and some meat, make a portion out for the next day, and that way you're not getting stale with something throughout the week.
Yeah. You've got a rotating.
Right.
Yeah.
And
sequence.
the other thing that we've done over
We
the
do that
last
for
couple
our
years, we've worked on the equipment that we use to cook the food. Like that grill, that indoor grill. When we put a chicken breast in there, I set it on grill at 450. It does 450 for 2 minutes, and then I set it for a total of 8. So 450 at 2, and then it automatically kicks it down to 425 for the next 6 minutes, and it grills a 1 pound breast perfect. Absolutely perfect. Put the temperature probe in 165. It's moist. Even if it gets to 175 or 180, it's still moist. But I can't tell you how many pounds of chicken breast I have absolutely destroyed trying to cook it in the pan or in
on
the
the
oven
grill
or on
or-
the grill or
Yep.
something. It's just
And
this
they're
is the
hard to
easiest.
cook. Chicken breasts are hard to cook because they're low in fat. So they don't have, you have to add fat to them to get them juicy,
Right.
moist. But
it-
you don't on this. And last night we had chicken breast. I had 8 ounces. 8 ounces. It was huge. I actually ended up giving him a little bit because it was too much for me.
So what's the little joke you guys always have?
What?
This is diet food. We're
Yeah.
eating pizza, but this
We're-
is
Diet
diet
This is diet food. We're on a diet. We're sitting here with all this good food.
So I got 2 more questions because
Okay.
we're probably getting long-winded, and we got to see if anyone even finds this interesting. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, we do.
One, so obviously different levels of activity in here. Some people CrossFit, some people run, some people whatever. Do you really feel like it is truly diet first and then activity?
Yes.
Yes.
That once you changed what you ate
Yes.
is where the weight came off.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
So
look
even
at-
though you guys know how much Chuck and I work out, it's not really, that's not what got us to what we are.
No.
Well, think about how much activity you have. And then I have a lot less than you, but I've got more than Mom. But all 3 of us are doing it, and every one of us have gotten pretty much what we need.
Exactly.
So the macro setup is perfect for where you are at what you can do.
Because it's set for your activity level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's set for your
You
activity.
have to fit it in, and that's the big thing. And that's a mindset at the beginning. It's, wow, this can't be as hard as I think it is. It should be very easy. And it is, once you get there and once you set your mind, but just think the day ahead.
Yeah.
That's all.
Right.
Think it ahead.
Plan ahead.
Yeah.
Never heard that
And
before.
follow your numbers.
Right. Hit your numbers. Okay, so then last question just for fun because Megan asked, do you guys want to share any, what Chelsea was like or funny stories? Keep them short.
Oh my God.
We'll see if anybody
Let
watched
me
this
start
long.
with one, and then you can pick up.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Probably the best
What?
was knowing that Mom was indoctrinating you early in life. And you probably were maybe 2.5, maybe 3, and you stood below me, and with both hands up over your head, you're pushing on my stomach saying, "Suck it in, Dad, suck it in." And I'm looking at you like, it's child abuse as hard as I want to hit you. I was like, and I'm glaring at Mom going, What the hell are you teaching her? That was so freaking funny.
Did I teach her
I
that?
will. That was traumatic.
I guess so,
That's
if he
funny.
remembers it.
I hadn't heard that
till
one.
now.
That's good.
I hadn't heard that either.
God.
Amazing deal. Cool.
Sock it in, Dad. Sock it in.
No, the only thing I
Apparently more-
remember when
more
she
southern.
was
Squeaky voice.
that little, or a little even younger than that, laid her down on the floor one day, and I changed her diaper, and I rolled it up and I stuck it to the side because I wasn't going to stand up immediately. We were going to play on the floor for a little while. Oh no, she got up, picked up the diaper, handed it to me, and she said garbage. So she was neat then. I don't know what happened in between when
Yeah,
she
Chuck.
was in
Chuck
school
will know.
and high school.
Yeah.
But I just used to close her door. What's the difference?
Chuck will agree with that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Those are good.
And then one other thing, when she finally at one point looked at me and said, now she was a senior in high school at this point, I handed her lunch because I didn't want her buying the stuff at school. I didn't think it was healthy. Here we are not eating healthy, but I still gave her lunch. Probably that day got it from Subway, a meatball sandwich in portions, and then anyway. Didn't put the meatball on the bread because it would get gooey. She had to do it when she got there. Handed it to her, and she looked at me with such surprise in her face and said, "You make me 3 meals a day." Duh. Yes, and I have been for a long, long time. But
Awareness. Until
I
you know.
know.
You didn't know. I didn't know where it's come from.
at,
I hadn't thought about it. Just eating.
at one point, speaking of food, which we are, I told her she needed to make her own her own lunch, because I was sort of, you need to learn to do this now, Chelsea. So she had the same thing for lunch every day for 1 or 2 years of school. Cheese stick, a fluffernutter sandwich, that's marshmallow and peanut butter, and sandwich,
And a Gatorade juice
and a
box.
Gatorade juice box.
I used to watch MTV music videos. It was when like Snoop Dogg videos were out. I can't remember the Ludacris song. I remember making them, listening to the MTV music videos, making my fluffernutters.
Good
And
gosh.
that's how Nude Nation came about, fam.
Then we left here during the day, and we'd all get, 2 of us would get in the car. We'd go down to the Sexton's house to pick them up, to take them to school,
Shout out to
and
Jess.
hey Jess, and then we ran into, didn't literally, but the suicide squirrel. It's there every day, every day on the way.
Trying to make
What did
that-
Chelsea do? I don't know. She was a pretty good kid, actually.
Those are good though. Those are funny.
Thank you.
Hopefully that made you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I didn't answer any of your questions from the thread, but I will personally. But I hope it gives you guys some perspective from someone else. Like, if you watch from the beginning, I didn't push this on them. I just
Nope.
did it. So think about that in your own family settings, that if you put your goals forward first and you're not pushy about it, you might be rubbing off on people that you care about more than you think, and you see what it did for them. And then just encourage them and bring them along in it. You know, if they have questions about it, be open to it. Be thankful that your friends and family members are asking, and also realize too, sometimes that when they joke with you about something, it might be their own insecurities. So it might be a time to ask them about what they're doing or what they've tried before, or even invite them in here and see what they can do. So
And if it's a couple and you want to try because you're feeling a little fluffy, and your husband doesn't because he's okay, or he may be fluffy but still goes, ooh, no, I don't want to go on a diet. You don't have to let him know that he's on a diet too. Just give him more stuff. Figure out his little macros too. Sneak it in here and there.
yeah, really.
See what happens.
There's a lot of his and hers meals that I put up on my Instagram where you see that Chuck just gets more of something than I
Yep.
do. Chuck has to eat with all 3 of us trying to lose weight, so he's figured out how to do it, but we just give him more of things.
More things.
So feed the
Yep.
boy. All right, guys. Well, thanks. If you have any questions for us, drop it below.
Come
And
visit us in Florida.
Come visit us.
It's hot
All right.
here.
It is. Have a good day, guys. Bye.